I never thought a simple curiosity could spiral into a life I couldn't recognize. My name is Emily, 29, and for the past 5 years, I've been dating James. We met at a college reunion, laughed through the awkward introductions, and somehow, without realizing it, built a life together. People called us the couple who just fit, but somewhere along the way, I started feeling restless. It wasn't that I didn't love him. I did, fiercely, completely, but love, I learned, doesn't always protect you from boredom or the fear of missing out. The excitement we'd had in our early days had faded. Dinners became routine, weekends predictable. I started to wonder what else was out there. It began innocently enough. I told myself it was harmless to flirt with someone online. Just playful comments, nothing real. But playful comments have a way of becoming late-night texts, and late-night texts sometimes turn into meetings at coffee shops, quick lunches, stolen moments that feel dangerously like freedom. I remember the first time I realized I had crossed a line. I was at a cafe, waiting for someone I barely knew beyond their username. My phone buzzed, and there it was, a message from James, asking if I wanted to grab dinner that night. My stomach sank. I typed a quick reply, "Not tonight, busy." Busy. It was a perfect excuse. The perfect lie. That night, I met Alex. Tall, charming. The kind of man whose eyes make you forget the people who have known you longest. We laughed, shared stories, and in a corner of that cafe, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Exhilaration. The days after were a blur. I found myself checking my phone constantly, heart racing at every notification. I told myself it was temporary, a fleeting distraction, but distractions have a way of becoming habits. James noticed, of course. The subtle comments, "You seem distant," he'd say. Or, "Is everything okay?" They felt like arrows piercing my guilt. And yet, I didn't stop. I rationalized it. I was only exploring, understanding myself. He would forgive me. He always did. Or so I thought. Then came the moment I knew I had gone too far. I walked into our apartment late one Friday night, expecting the usual quiet welcome. Instead, James was there, standing by the door, holding a small box, a promise of a future I had started to take for granted. "Emily," he said softly, a smile tugging at his lips. "I thought we could celebrate tonight." My stomach twisted. The excitement I felt with Alex was suddenly tainted with dread. I couldn't meet James' eyes. I mumbled something about being tired, needing a night alone. He didn't push, but the sadness in his expression was a knife I couldn't ignore. Days passed, and the guilt consumed me. I wanted to end things with Alex, wanted to return fully to James, but my curiosity had become an obsession. I started questioning my feelings, wondering if the life I had was enough. It all came crashing down one night, when James suggested that we go away for a weekend. A little getaway, just the two of us. I pretended to be enthusiastic, masking the panic rising inside me. Deep down, I knew the trip wasn't just a getaway. It was a chance to see if we could reclaim what we'd lost. But I couldn't. On the second night, after a few drinks, I found myself scrolling through Alex's messages, remembering our plans for the week. The thrill was intoxicating, but the pang of guilt was sharper. James noticed, of course. "Emily, are you okay?" he asked, gently touching my hand. I pulled away. "I'm fine," I lied, and that's when everything changed. The next morning, I woke up to find a note on the nightstand. Simple, elegant handwriting. I know everything. I can't believe I let myself hope anymore. You have made your choice. I hope it makes you happy. James. I stared at it, unable to breathe. Panic, shame, and disbelief collided inside me. I had believed I could have it both ways. Keep the man who loved me while exploring what I thought I wanted. But James had seen through it all. He had known, and instead of screaming, pleading, or humiliating me, he chose silence. I spent the day wandering our apartment, avoiding the calls I knew would come, the texts that would eventually reveal my misstep to the world I had built with him. Each corner, each memory, felt like a mirror reflecting my selfishness. And then the invitations arrived, not for a party, not for a casual dinner, but for his wedding. My stomach dropped. He was getting married. Without me. The realization hit me harder than anything before. Every flirt, every lie, every choice I thought I could control had consequences. And now I had to face them. I sat down, trembling, wondering how one person's curiosity could unravel everything so completely. How a simple desire to see other people could destroy a love that had been patient, forgiving, and unwavering. I knew the next few weeks, months, perhaps years, would be spent living with this truth. Every memory with James, every moment of betrayal, every laugh we shared, now all tinged with regret. I had wanted freedom. I had wanted excitement. But the price was higher than I could have imagined. And as I stared at the wedding invitation in my hands, the reality was clear. My life had changed forever, and there was no turning back. The day of James' wedding arrived like a storm I couldn't escape. I stayed home, pretending to be busy with work, but every buzz of my phone made my heart leap. Friends, family, notifications, all reminders that he had moved on without me. I tried to rationalize it at first. He'll call me. He'll explain. Maybe he'll even forgive me. But deep down, I knew the truth. James had always been patient, always been forgiving, but there was a line, and I had crossed it, repeatedly. The first glimpse of reality came when I ran into Sophie, James' sister, at a coffee shop. She didn't hide her surprise or her satisfaction. "Emily," she said, a tight smile on her face. "Are you okay?" I nodded, forcing a smile that felt hollow even to me. "I'm fine." Sophie shook her head slowly. "James is happier than I've seen him in years. Honestly, I think this is for the best." Her words were like salt on a wound. Happiness. He had found happiness without me. Every decision I had made, every night of thrill, had led to this. Him smiling, laughing, moving forward while I was left in regret. That evening, curiosity, guilt, and a twisted need for closure drove me to drive past a venue. I parked down the street, heart racing, and watched as guests arrived, dressed elegantly, smiles plastered on their faces. Then I saw him, James, in a tailored suit, laughing with friends, his eyes bright, unburdened. The sight cut through me like a knife. I wanted to shout, run to him, beg for forgiveness. But I didn't. I couldn't. Not anymore. The years of patience, the nights I had ignored, the betrayals I had inflicted, they had changed the balance. He was no longer mine. He was someone else's. Later, I heard snippets from mutual friends. The ceremony was intimate, the vows heartfelt, the joy palpable. James had moved on completely, and the life I had taken for granted had vanished before me. Every memory, every inside joke, every quiet moment we had shared suddenly felt like a shadow of what I had ruined. The true weight of my actions hit the next morning. I returned home, exhausted from sleepless nights of self-recrimination, and saw the apartment we had shared. Empty, furniture rearranged, reminders of us removed. Each item that had once symbolized our life together now felt like a monument to my mistakes. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Alex. "Hey, ready for lunch?" I stared at it, numb. The thrill I had sought, the freedom I had chased, suddenly felt meaningless. Alex was exciting, sure, but he could never replace what I had destroyed. And now, there was nothing left to chase, no James, no us, no life I had once loved. Over the next few weeks, I tried to rebuild myself. Friends offered sympathy, but their words felt shallow. Family lectured, but lectures couldn't erase the consequences of my choices. Every time I passed a happy couple, I saw James and felt a pang of loss. Every time I laughed, guilt shadowed my joy. Then came the moment that broke me completely. I received a wedding photo in the mail. A single image of James, smiling radiantly, holding hands with his new wife. There was no malice in the picture, no judgment, just life moving forward without me. And in that moment, I understood the full extent of what I had done. I had wanted to see other people. I had wanted excitement, novelty, a taste of freedom. But freedom without responsibility, curiosity without conscience, had left me alone. James had chosen happiness. I had chosen selfishness. Months passed, and the pain softened, replaced by a cold understanding. I wasn't angry at him, nor did I regret loving him. My regret was entirely mine. I had known the risks, yet I had ignored them. I had ignored the man who had loved me without conditions. And in return, I was left with memories that hurt more than anything else could. By the time a year had passed, I had moved into a smaller apartment, taken a new job, and started to rediscover myself. Not the Emily who would chase excitement recklessly, but a version tempered by loss. I understood now that life doesn't forgive easily, and some mistakes cannot be undone. Then, one quiet evening, I saw him across a crowded street. James, laughing, holding the hand of the woman who had become his new life. For a fleeting moment, I wanted to run to him, to apologize, to beg for a second chance. But as I watched him walk away, unburdened, happy, completely unaware of my gaze, I realized something profound. I couldn't have him back. And in that truth, the final lesson was clear. Love is patient, forgiving, and enduring, but it isn't endless. Curiosity can spark excitement, but it can also destroy the foundation beneath you. And when you choose selfishness over loyalty, there is a price I would pay for the rest of my life. James was gone. The life we had shared was gone. And I was left with nothing but the echo of my own choices, a haunting reminder that some opportunities, once lost, never return. I had wanted to see other people. I had got what I wanted, and I had lost everything that truly mattered.